Well, I think we are about to have quorum, everyone, so I am going to go ahead and get us started. Again, welcome. Thank you for spending some of your Friday morning with us here at the Miami Foundation to talk about our community grants program. My name is Valerie Crum. I am the program officer here at the Foundation. I have the honor of managing our community grants program this year. We are so excited to spend some time with you all this morning. Today, we're going to share an overview of our community grants program, including all the information that you need to know about eligibility, funding categories, and the application process. Then our goal is that the majority of our time together is really for you. So after our overview, we will open up to take all of your questions and any feedback that you may have to share. So please feel free as we are sharing our information to insert any questions that you may have into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We'll do our best to get everything answered. Quick housekeeping notes. We do ask that you keep those questions relevant to the full group or to the category that you're interested in. If you have specific questions about your organization or your application, you will learn that we have created lots of opportunities for you to connect with our team one-on-one to discuss. So you will have a chance to get those addressed as well. Second, there will be a recording of this conversation shared in case you want to refer back to it. We'll make sure that is posted on our website by early next week. And finally, I'd love to share brief introductions of the team members here this morning and what categories they are leading, because they will really be your greatest resources during this application process. So to start, I'd love to introduce my colleague, Julissa, who is going to be also sharing information in Spanish.
Good morning, everyone. So happy all of you are here. Mi nombre es Julissa Rivera. Estoy aquí para contestar cualquier tipo de preguntas que tengan en español o si necesitan que le traduzca cualquier tipo de información que hoy compartamos, pues estoy aquí a sus órdenes. It was a pleasure and I'm here to answer any questions in Spanish.
Grace, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. I am the Senior Programs Associate here at the Foundation, and I will be overseeing our Inspiring Arts and Culture category. Very excited to meet all of the different organizations today and share some information. Always here to answer questions.
And I guess I will go last. My name is Molly O'Doherty, also a Senior Programs Associate, and I will be supporting the Thriving Youth and Families category and also the Inclusion of People with Diverse Abilities category.
Thank you, everyone. So let's jump right in. If you're just joining us, thank you again for spending some time. This community grants time is really our favorite time of year here at the Miami Foundation. You may know us. We are the community foundation that is missioned to serve Miami-Dade County. We do this by investing in our next generation of public and private leaders here in Miami. We mobilize philanthropists around opportunities for social progress. And especially for the folks on this call this morning, we spend a lot of time thinking about how we can support the nonprofit community here in Miami. Many of you may know us from Give Miami Day, our annual day of fundraising for nonprofits here in Miami, but we also support nonprofits through our annual grant programs. Community grants is our largest annual investment in the nonprofit community. We're working with our partners to build a Miami that serves every resident by advancing equity and investing in community-led progress. So last year, this program invested a little over $2 million in about 100 nonprofit organizations, and we plan to invest at a similar level this year. This year in 2022, we are focused on the strength of our nonprofit community. So we've heard feedback from you about how we can be increasingly strong partners with you. We hope that opportunities like general mission building support and our streamlined applications will support your work well this year. I also want to flag that we are passionate about this program because it is community-led. So you'll hear in a little while from Julissa about how we are recruiting community reviewers who ultimately make final investment decisions for this program, really guide our work to respond to current opportunities that you are working on throughout Miami-Dade County. Next slide, please. So now that you know why we do this work, we want to always be transparent about how we do this work. So we have shared our 5 investment priorities that ground us both in our values and our process, as well as the criteria that we believe make for the strongest work and impact to serve Miami residents well. I'll highlight, you can read these on the screen, but I'll highlight a few of these that are particularly close to us. First, of course, our guiding value of advancing equity. We believe that every investment we make should be working together with people facing marginalization or striving to eliminate inequity in our community. We're also looking for timely progress, measurable impact, ambitious goals that really matter to the people we're serving. Again, you heard that we care a lot about community leadership. We also believe that our partners work well when guided by community residents and their insight. And finally, you will hear us consistently talk about sustainability for the nonprofit community. So we're hoping to understand how we can maximize quality impact by investing in what you do best, in your capacity and your expertise. Next slide, and I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Grace to talk about all the good basic information that you need to know about this program.
Thank you so much, Valerie. So if you are thinking about applying for our community grants program, I just wanted to share a little bit of information about eligibility and a few other things with you today. So organizations are eligible for this program Organizations that are eligible for this program include those with a 501c3 status or those that are fiscally sponsored by a 501c3 organization. We also welcome groups that are tax exempt, including local governments and religious institutions. In addition to that, we want to make sure that you're aware that the proposed work within the application must be primarily serving the residents of Miami-Dade County. Your organization does not have to be based here in Miami-Dade County, but we do encourage that those that are based elsewhere collaborate with local organizations here. We are also open to supporting various approaches and strategies to achieve your goals. That includes direct services, advocacy and organizing, and partnership proposals. Just keep in mind that standard 501c3 restrictions on use of funding still apply. Next slide, please. So what type of funding can you apply for? We have 2. And it's up to you to decide which grant would better suit your goals. The first one is mission building support. So for that one, we're thinking about capacity building, infrastructure, etc. We definitely are looking for you to share your organization goals with us if you are considering this type of funding. The second one is program support. And that would include support for a specific program or area of work within your organization. And if you're applying for program support, make sure to share your program goals with us. You will have to choose one type of support, and whichever will best serve your organization and your work. The foundation really has no preference over one or the other. So we really encourage you to think about what would work best for you and your organization's needs. These grants are for a single year, and the maximum that we are awarding is $30,000. The grant period is from starting in July of 2022, and it goes through June of 2023. How many proposals can you submit? A single one per organization and only submitted to a single category. There are a few exemptions that includes colleges and local governments. If you are a college or a local government, you may submit up to 3 proposals, each from a different department. We also have an option for organizations that want to apply as a partnership of 2 or more organizations. You will need to identify one partner that will serve as the lead applicant organization. If awarded, this organization would be responsible for managing the grant funds. Because we always encourage collaboration, organizations that apply through a partnership may also apply for their own funding. So that was a lot of information. It's all on our website, but I will be passing it over to Molly to share a little bit more about our funding categories.
Good morning. So this year through community grants, we are funding 6 categories. We recommend selecting the category that best fits your organization's goals and purpose for applying to this grant. Next slide, please. So first up, I'll just keep talking while we're moving to the next slide. But first up, we have our Inspiring Arts and Culture category. We are really thrilled to bring this category this year and invest in the power of the arts to highlight Miami's strength through diversity. We are really excited to see the expansion of access to arts and cultural experiences, as well as increased opportunities for artistic development and expression through this funding. Opportunities supporting new or expanded work that increases access and representation in the arts and is valued by the local community will be prioritized. So we hope to showcase community culture in non-traditional ways to engage local residents. And as with all new categories, we've taken a broader approach to describing the intentions of this focus area and really are looking forward to listening and learning about the work happening on the ground. So our next category, next slide, please, is sustainable environment. We have aligned with Miami-Dade County's Resilient 305 and will prioritize environmental health and local climate resilience. Specifically, we would love to see action to improve Biscayne Bay, protecting our most vulnerable residents from extreme heat, and expanding awareness and action on the climate crisis and its local effects. Again, the foundation has a strong interest in investing in work that prioritizes our community's most underserved residents. So in our next category, which is thriving youth and families, so next slide, please. We are really looking to expand opportunities for youth to excel from early childhood to career. This can be accomplished through high quality education, enrichment experiences, personal development that build resilience to ensure safety and stability. We welcome approaches that include the arts and creative expression to advance personal development. This category also supports adult caregivers so the whole family can thrive. And then in our next category, which is economic stability, excuse me, it's really intended to improve residents' ability to meet local affordability challenges by helping them secure affordable, stable housing, recover from financial crisis, and or increase their earning potential. And our next category, which is inclusion of people with diverse abilities, is made possible by Sophia Isabel Soto Fund in loving memory of Sophia Isabel, the daughter of the Miami Foundation's former president and CEO, Javier Alberto Soto. This category really focuses on expanding opportunities for people with disabilities to lead purposeful, productive lives and be increasingly integrated into all aspects of community life. And last but not least, we have our access to health and wellness category, which is intended to improve health outcomes by connecting people to quality health resources and education, reducing health disparities, or tackling contributing social determinants of health. And so I want to mention 2 things before I pass you along. The first is that if you select a category that might not be the ideal fit but we find that your proposed work within the application will be more competitive in a different category, we'll transfer your application to the more appropriate category during that first round of reviews. The last thing I will note is that if you're unsure of which category your application aligns with, or if you have questions about the process, I would highly recommend signing up for office hours and take advantage of the opportunity to connect with us. And with that, I will pass this along to Julissa, who will take you through the idea stage application process and also how to sign up for those office hours. So thank you.
Thank you. So this is the fun part, applications and the idea stage. So community grants is a two-stage process. The initial is the idea stage and then the full proposal stage. As you know, the idea stage is currently accepting applications through our online portal, and the submission deadline is Thursday, February 24 by 4 p.m. Remember, the link to our online submittable application is on the link to our online submittable application portal can be found on our website. The first part of the application will ask you to complete your organization's basic profile information, including if you would like to request program or mission building support. The second part will ask that you answer our two central questions. What is the problem or opportunity you seek to address, and what are your goals for progress? Applicants will be asked to provide basic demographic data about where their program works and information about their executive director, senior leadership, and board members. We encourage you to share this information to help us hold ourselves accountable and understand the equity of funding patterns in Miami, but it's not required. Finally, applicants can also upload supplemental information such as videos, photo, brief reports, news articles, and is to help you convey your work in other ways. This is completely optional, but we do add it as a way to more flexibly share your work in addition to your written application. As you're drafting this, we strongly encourage you to highlight how your work aligns with the community grants program's priorities. We will also be sharing our review metrics on our website next week so that you can see exactly what our reviewers are looking for. And my favorite part, which are the office hours. We recommend that you sign up for our office hours with our team showcase here. And it's not required, but we always want to make sure that we make ourselves available to you to learn more about your work and answer any questions that you may have. We can't wait to meet you. Idea stage applications will be reviewed internally by the Miami Foundation staff members, shared here again, as well as external advisors. Each proposal will have 3 to 4 reviewers who are trained to apply the program's review criteria. Together, we will identify the proposals most in line with our priorities and local community. Applications that have the greatest potential for community impact will be invited to submit full proposals. Organizations will receive notifications about whether they have been selected to move on to the final full proposal stage by April 1st. They will have the entire month to submit their full proposal. The full proposal applications will be reviewed by our community review committees. For each funding category, we currently have an open interest form for Miami residents who are interested in joining this process. So if you know people who will be excited to guide social progress in Miami, please send us to us or our community grants website to learn more. And with that, I will pass it to Valerie.
Thank you, Julissa. Sam, if you can take us back to that key date slide for just one more quick moment to recap your next steps after this webinar. You've heard us say it once or twice. check out our website. We'll share the link in a moment. It has all of the guidelines, all the resources we've talked about today. Sign up for office hours if you'd like to learn more, if you'd like to connect with some of the team you've met today one-on-one. Our team will also be popping up on Instagram live chats the next couple of weeks, both in Spanish and in English. So be sure to keep an eye out for those to dig in deep on things like our new arts category and as well as our other work. Again, our DIA stage applications, the deadline to apply is February 24th at 4 p.m. Those will be submitted virtually through our submittable platform. I saw a couple questions on there, and we will be reaching back out to everyone who has applied by April 1st. I wish it could have been a different date, but that is the day it's going to be. We will not be joking when we invite you to submit a full proposal, and ultimately awards will be announced in early June. So again, we can take us to our final slide. Thank you again for hearing this information, for your great questions coming through the chat. We're excited to jump into those. But if you hear nothing else today, we are here to be a resource to you, whether it's through this program or through some other way that we can support your work. So always, please feel free to reach out to us. You have our website information there, as well as my contact information if you have follow-up questions after today's meeting. With that, Molly, if you can help us facilitate some of our Q&A. So if you've not shared your questions into the Q&A box, please get those in there. If there's any information that you would like to hear this morning while we're still together.
Yes, so I think that some of these would be helpful for the whole group if we answered them together. One of our first questions is, how long do you expect the idea stage to be? I'm guessing that means length of the responses.
Such a good question. So in our guidelines, we include there are word limits that we have for our application. More to be clear that we do not need a full essay from you all. So I believe we anticipate it will be no more than about 2 pages if you hit our max word limits, but that's not necessary. Really is up to you how much space you need to share your work well.
Great. And so there's another question that says, under Thriving Youth and Families on page 1 of the guidelines, it states that you support work to advance youth development through the arts. Is this correct, or should it be under Inspiring Arts and Culture? And so what I would say to you is that anything that is dealing with and more focused on the education of youth does definitely belong in the Thriving Youth and Families category. Okay, next question. If we go with program support, do we have to choose only one program, or can we submit a project with several different programs?
That was a great question. We have absolutely had folks submit proposals for maybe 2 programs that have similar goals. I will mention that for the full proposal stage, you will still need to submit 1 collection of target goals, activities, and outcomes. So keep in mind, typically they are similar programs so that our community reviewers understand your goals and intentions. But in summary, you can absolutely submit for 2 different programs.
Perfect. The next question asks, if 2 organizations apply for a partnership grant, is each organization eligible for the $30,000? Or would the $30,000 maximum be split between the 2 organizations?
So for our partnership proposals, you would be splitting that $30,000 max. It is still $30,000 max for any type of proposal that you may be submitting.
Great. The next question that just popped in here is there a set number of grantees and dollars for each category?
Yes, there will be a set amount of dollars, not necessarily number of grantees, but there are a set of dollars for each category. As I mentioned, we are doing some of our own fundraising this year to be able to fully respond to some of the community opportunities that we would like to have. So we anticipate sharing those final numbers within the next month or 2 with folks so that you have a full picture of the program.
The next question is, in the access to health and wellness, does this include mental health services?
Absolutely, yes.
Great. Next question
And
is, oh, sorry.
I'll
go
also
ahead.
just flag for folks, there is a link on our webpage for last year's grant partners. I think many of you are featured there. And so that can be a really helpful resource for folks who want to see historical funding. By no means is that the only type of work that we will support through these categories, but it can be helpful to see what we have supported in the past.
Fantastic. The next question, is a funding match required? If so, what is the percentage?
Great question. So I will say this very loudly. We do not require any type of match funding. We have no requirement that you have additional funders or a certain percentage. We fund projects where our grant is a very small part of the program, all the way through to where our grant is supporting an entire program on its own. We are completely agnostic to how our funding can best work for you.
Fantastic. The next one is, can you please clarify what the cover letter template is in the application form? I don't know that there is a cover letter template, if I'm not mistaken. I think that the application is directly linked in our community grants page.
Yeah, so that might be an old application or something, but definitely take a look at our website that's shared on this slide here, and hopefully there will be no cover letter requirement. There should not be. Please reach out if you have any questions to us directly.
The next question is, who is the team lead for sustainable environment? And that is our wonderful Valerie Crum.
Yes, we're really excited about that new category. So if you have any questions, definitely shoot me a note. We'll also be working closely with our resilience officer, Chelsea Clark, who some of you may know as well, to make that category a success this year.
So the next question is, can you apply individually for the same project that you apply to as a partnership?
So we do ask that if you're applying for a partnership proposal, that you apply for something different to support just your own organization if you submit your own individual application. If you have additional questions about this, I know sometimes it can be quite broad. Please reach out to us. We're happy to discuss and understand what works best for you.
The next one is good. How long should the nonprofit be in establishment for it to be eligible?
I love this question. We have no preference for how long you've been an established nonprofit. As long as you are currently an active 501c3 or you have a fiscal sponsor, we want to hear from you. So we have supported brand new organizations. Some of my favorite work is to be able to invest some of the first grants in organizations, all the way through to organizations that have been around with Miami as long as the foundation has.
Awesome. The next one is, if we are applying for mission-driven support, will the project budget be the same as the organizational budget? So
oftentimes, yes. So I'll give some context for this question. So in the application, we will ask what your organizational budget is to get a sense of the size of your organization. Then we will ask about the total budget for the program or the initiative that you're asking for support for, followed by how much funding you're requesting from us. So yes, sometimes some of those numbers are the same. That's absolutely fine. We just want to get a sense of the size and scale, of your work.
fantastic. The next one is about whether we fund administrative costs to be eligible for the grant request. Developing programs and executing them requires staff. Will these costs be considered?
Absolutely. So our mission building support that my colleagues talked about is a great option for this. We recognize that sometimes providing high quality, actually all the time, providing high quality programming, being able to reach your full capacity requires those infrastructure costs, the operation costs, so that you can focus on the work that you do best. We're absolutely open to funding those kinds of costs or one-time costs. Last year, I know know we funded quite a number of technology upgrades, just for an example. What we do still ask is that if you're applying for operational costs to be covered, we still want to understand your goals for impact for Miami residents. So that has an impact for your organization as well as for community. That's what we're really excited about and what we hope to learn from you in your proposal.
Okay. Another question is, can we include development costs in budget? I'm assuming.
So fundraising costs. This person, I'll try to answer, and if we don't fully answer your question, then please reach out to us or sign up for office hours. Broadly, yes, again, we will cover operational costs. What I've recommended to folks is that it is quite difficult to connect confirmed community impact or goals from, say, funding just to submit another proposal. So we ask that you think about how you'll present that work in light of community impact. Again, happy to talk about this more with this person.
Another question came in, can you blend mission and program support?
So at this time, we do ask that you pick one or the other, either program support or mission support. This is really just to help us understand what kind of funding we would be doing in the use of your funding. If you are thinking about both, my general recommendation is to go for the mission building support. That will get you the most flexibility in what your grant can be applied for.
Okay, and so let's see what our next one is going to be. Did I hear correctly that an organization can apply for the same project twice, together with a community partner and also individually? Just to clarify.
So again, we'd love to talk about and understand the full context of this question. Our preference is that you apply for a different program than what your partnership proposal is for.
Great. Let's see, can an organization request funding for a project partially funded through a family foundation managed by the Miami Foundation?
Yes, I believe so. Again, I would love to understand the full context behind this. And again, for questions that are specifically for your experience, we would love to have this conversation over email or in office hours. But broadly, yes, we know that the foundation supports a number of individual donors, family foundations, and it is not at all a conflict if you have other donors for your project, in addition to proposing a community grant.
Great. The next one that seems to have a few thumbs, would professional development programs for educators fall under Thriving Youth and Families? And I would say in a general sense, yes, if it is, you know, for the benefit of educating youth, I would think that that falls under the youth and families category. Okay.
While Molly's looking for our upvoted questions, I know I saw a good one put in the chat about if you apply for community grants, if you receive a community grant, are you still eligible for other foundation grant programs? Because yes, we do run other grant programs throughout the year. The answer is absolutely yes. We hope that some folks will apply for every grant program that they are eligible or relevant to applying for. We want to be able to support your work in as many ways as possible. So a community grant absolutely does not prevent you from applying to programs here at the foundation.
Okay, so our next one would be if we are applying for sustainable environment funding, are we required to select one of the 3 subcategories, or should the narrative touch on the most relevant areas?
That is a great question. So yes, for some of our newer categories, we have started providing more built out category summaries purely to provide more explanation of what our goals and intentions are with the category. You will not be asked to select a subcategory or a sub-subcategory. We just want to know if you're applying to sustainable environment, but we do recommend that in your application, you ensure that you're making clear which of those areas you most align with. It might be more than one oftentimes, but we provide that information to give you some guidance around what we're going to prioritize.
Fantastic. The next question is the mission building support mentioned infrastructure. Would this support purchase of equipment for a program for children with disabilities?
Yes, absolutely. We have certainly funded equipment, that sort of thing. Again, we want to understand the impact for example, the youth who would be receiving that equipment or families that would be able to take advantage of those resources.
Fantastic. And another one, does being a previous recipient of the Miami Foundation grant hinder your chances of getting funding again?
A great question. Absolutely not. We encourage all of our current partners through any grant program to reapply for community grants if they are eligible, if it aligns with their goals. And we do not consider previous funding to be either a pro or a con. We're just looking at the work that you've presented for this year. And I know we're heading toward our time together, and so we will stay on for as long as need be to continue answering questions. But if you need to jump, you need to get to the rest of your Friday, we just want to say again, thank you, and we hope to connect with you individually very soon. But have a great weekend, and again, please apply by February 24th and take good care.
Okay.
What other questions do we got, Molly?
Yes, we have more. So how is partnership application defined? Does that mean that the funding is being split among partners, or can one partner receive all the funding as long as the funding is going to an aspect of a project with various partners?
Sure. So really, we call it a partnership proposal. There are no different questions that you will receive. So it is truly up to you how you want to present your work. We present that option because we want to encourage collaboration between nonprofits. And we know that it gets complicated if you are working on a project together, and oftentimes you do need to split up the funding, or maybe a small piece of the funding needs to go to your partnership organization. So it sounds like this might be a good question for us to discuss one-on-one. Broadly, we're going to be flexible with you for those collaborative proposals.
Fantastic.
And thank you, everyone, as you are heading out. It's great to see so many friendly names, and hope to talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.
I see a couple of questions kind of related to if people can apply to more than one grant via the Miami Foundation, or if we are limited to one. So just wanted to clarify that and give a definitive answer.
Yes, I'm more than happy to say again, we do not limit folks on how many grants they can apply for or receive from the Miami Foundation every year. Please apply to any program that aligns with your goals. The only limitation that we have is that the vast majority of organizations can only submit one proposal to only one category in community grants this program.
Fantastic. Let me see. We have all sorts popping up. Let's see. I think there was also a mention of if programs that serve across Miami-Dade and Broward counties, are they eligible for funding? And I know that, Grace kind of touched on that earlier, that we really, the funding is particularly for Miami-Dade residents and for services for those that live in this county.
So I'll just add to that. We absolutely support folks who say are working across South Florida, across the Tri-County area, or even statewide. We ask that our funds be applied specifically, if possible, to support Miami-Dade County residents, since that is our mission. We are truly dedicated to Miami-Dade County. And so we're happy to discuss that with you one-on-one. Is always a great option, but we do not penalize folks who are working more broadly than simply Miami-Dade.
Let's see as I sort through some of these. And again, I think it's important to emphasize if we don't get to any specifics, if it specifically applies to your program, we encourage you to sign up for office hours on our website. Did we share that in the chat? I haven't been paying attention to that part.
Yes, we have, and folks know they can find that link right on our program website.
I'm still looking.
Grace and Julissa, please feel free to jump in if you saw any other questions or any Spanish questions come in. Happy to take those as well.
I haven't seen any, but I will say that if you want to have one-on-one hours in Spanish, to definitely reach out, and I'm happy to meet and answer all of your questions.
Again, oh, sorry, go ahead, Grace.
I saw a few questions pop up in the Q&A about the difference between mission building support and program support. That is all explained within our guidelines. I will put a link to those guidelines in your Q&A answer, but you can definitely find that information. We've tried to explain it as thoroughly as possible. But if you still have questions, do sign up for our office hours. We're happy to explain more.
Let's see. There's a question in here. If you review our application, is there a possibility that you'll see and suggest a partnership? So just want to be clear about what our role is in this.
It's a great question. And so, as we've mentioned, our goal is not to run one grant program, but to support nonprofits in as many ways as we can. Typically, we like to keep proposals confidential, but if there was a partnership or another funder, is something that we are quite committed to. If we're not able to support work, we actively champion strong proposals with our other partner funders here in Miami, and have loved seeing work be supported by others as well. Our goal is to really uplift every nonprofit throughout Miami-Dade County. So that is not an active part of the program, but it is certainly something that our team thinks about.
Great. Another question came through. If awarded a grant, does all of the awarded amount need to be used within the year?
Yes, we do ask that you submit a budget that you are confident will be spent out during the grant period. Now, perhaps if $30,000 is not an accurate amount that you would like to spend during that time, by all means, submit for the amount of funding that you need. It might be $20,000, it may be 15. We do not look at different amounts of funding any differently up to that cap. We really want to understand what is meaningful and effective for you and your organization within that one-year grant period.
Great. There's another question. Can a person connected to a grant seeking organization also be a grant reviewer?
I love this question. Thank you, whoever asked this. Absolutely, yes. Typically, our community reviewers, we ask that they are not reviewing a category that their organization is also applying for funding in, just to prevent any conflicts of interest. But say if your organization is applying in health and you are really passionate and active on environment, we would absolutely love to connect and see if we can work together.
I think we've hit on all of the more general questions.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Great. Well, we'll stick around for a few more minutes if anything else comes up for folks. I see there's still quite a few people here with us this morning, so thank you. And again, any other questions, please, we are here. Thanks, Monica. Thank you, Cindy. Hi, Mary Lou.
One question came in, is affordable housing a category? I don't know if we want to point them in the right direction.
We wish affordable housing was its own category. Right now, we do support a lot of affordable housing work, all within our economic stability category. So would encourage you to take a look at that. I happen to lead that work, and so would love to chat with you more. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Courtney. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you in office hours soon, Dory. I'm seeing a great question about the link for office hours. If someone on my team can post the direct link to our Calendly for office hours, that would be great. You can also find it on our program website, miamifoundation.org/community grants. Thank you, Grace. So that Calendly is our direct link to sign up for us. Definitely have some time available throughout the month of February. We'd love to connect. Okay. If we do not have any other questions, I think we have stuck around. Everyone else, thank you so much. We'll let you get to the rest of your weekend.